What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So on my channel, we have talked a lot about parasocial relationships, especially because we talk so often about K-pop. K-pop fandoms are notorious for the fans feeling possessive and entitled to the personal lives, the personal affection, and the personal attention of these idols and their favorite artists. That's why so often when an idol is revealed to be dating someone, it's a scandal and there's backlash over normal human behavior dating. And before y'all attack me, I know we're not all like this. I'm also a K-pop girly. I know that we are not all like that. A lot of us can admire them from afar, respect them for just being an artist we admire, and not feel like you can't date anyone but me, and not feel like I need to break into your house to get closer to you. I know the majority of K-pop fans are not like that, so please don't feel attacked. But the topic I want to talk about today is pretty tragic, and it's one of the many reasons why I am so grateful that the majority of you guys, my viewers in this community, are women and girls. There's a safety to that I feel like is not discussed enough. I think the one video I made that has a lot of male viewers was the one I made about Dao Kim, that Korean fake Muslim YouTuber who was caught trying to R-word a girl in her sleep. Do y'all know how many R-word threats, or should I say R-word wishes, that I got because I covered that topic? There were a lot of men who were there in the comments saying that they hope I get R-worded, or they wish that I should get R-worded, or I deserve to get R-worded. People online need to find more productive hobbies. Anyway, I want to talk about this Korean influencer, Yoonjia. She's a streamer on TikTok with over 350,000 followers. She made cutesy content like this and danced and was growing her audience pretty quickly. One of her top donors, though, he thought he could literally buy her love and her attention. A man in his 50s, only identified as the surname Che. This man was a longtime supporter of her on TikTok, and he was under the name Black Cat. He told her he was the rich CEO of an IT company, and he donated about 100 million won, or something like 70,000 USD, to her. And with all the money he was sending to her, she had no reason to doubt he was who he said he was, an important businessman, an important capable person who could potentially help her like he claimed he could. Now, of course, any woman, any person, a man even, in her position would be very grateful for that kind of support. I don't know anyone, male or female, who turns away free money like that, especially if you're a streamer and you take donations regularly. But it is so incredibly unfair that by him sending her all this money, he felt like he was entitled to her. He thought this meant she would show him love, affection, or she would get in a relationship with him. Chad later became a VIP level donor, and he claimed he could help her earn more money, get more sponsorships, and get more popular on her platform if she agreed to go into business with him. And this is one thing I want to talk about real quick. I noticed this thing that men tend to do. Not all men. Again, I'm not in the business of trashing all men. I am in the business of trashing bad men. I'm in the business of misery. Let's take it from the top. If you as a man feel uncomfortable by us analyzing and talking about the behavior of bad men, maybe you too are a bad man. Anyway, a man will come to you right out of the gate trying to impress you with money, impress you with the designer clothes they're wearing, the fast vroom car they have, the nice house they have, the amount of money they spend on you on a first date. That backfires in a number of ways. One, if the woman is one of those women who is interested in you because of your money, then you get mad at her for being a gold digger. Two, if even with all that money, she still doesn't want you, you blame women for not, oh, I'm such a catch, you're a dummy for not wanting a guy like me. And you feel like because you're able to put up this front of having so much money and having so much nice things in your life, that this woman is a fool for not wanting you, and that you are entitled to that woman because of the money and the things you have in your life. Just be yourself and hope for the best. That is really all anyone can do when trying to date or find a partner or connect with people. Anyway, after Yoon and Che entered this personal business arrangement, I'm not really sure what it was. It sounds like he would try to control her schedule of how often she would stream or when she would upload, and he would give her money whenever she did that. By the way, just to be clear, there's nothing that indicated there was anything like sexual, some sort of sugar baby arrangement or anything like that going on whatsoever. But eventually, after entering this partnership with him, she became exhausted by his controlling behavior. And he had an incredibly demanding schedule. So she needed space and distance from him, and she tried to cut ties from him. There was even CCTV footage, which as of recording this, I unfortunately cannot find, but there is a documentary coming out about this, and they have the CCTV footage, but they blurred it out because they want to build up the hype for it, I guess. But it shows him on his knees begging her for something. Maybe he's confessing his love for her. Maybe he's begging her to stay in this business arrangement. We don't know yet. But this footage was taken shortly before he killed her. Yoon was then seen trying to get away from him, but he pulled her back into the car and then they drove off, and that is the last time she was seen alive. It turns out he killed her about 30 minutes after she finished her last ever stream, which was he able to find her location because of the stream? That's another thing that's so eerie about social media. You can have one final post where you're laughing, you're smiling, you're with your friends, life is good, and no one, not even you, has any idea that that's going to be your last ever post. And when you can go back posthumously and look at their social media activity and see the last thing they said on social media, the last post they posted on social media, it just makes the whole thing even more sad. Also, this very same day, his home was seized and sold at auction, and it was revealed that he is deeply in debt. This man went into debt and lost his home just to cosplay as a financial baller, a boss, a CEO to impress this girl. Of course that didn't work, and of course that was never gonna work because you could not keep up that image forever. This is why I say just be yourself and hope for the best. Not everyone you want is for you. So people theorize that this was potentially a trigger that made him unalive her. And she was later found strangled to death. Che was then seen with a suitcase, which we can clearly guess had her body in it because that suitcase was also left abandoned on this mountain in Muju County of the Jeollabuk province. What I still don't understand is after he unalived her and put her body in a suitcase, he tried to drive around and make several stops to throw police off his trail. But like, unless you change vehicles, they're gonna be able to track your whole journey. Like his whole journey was tracked. He did not fool anyone. In fact, he was caught 12 hours later. It doesn't matter if you take a left when you should have taken a right. Like the police are tracking your whole journey. I don't know. Initially, he denied it, of course, but eventually he did confess. There is so much to say about tragedies like this. Parasocial relationships are scary and actually very sad. I think it's very sad that you can feel like you really know someone and deeply know someone who doesn't even know your name, doesn't know anything about you. Connections go both ways. Connections are reciprocal. They're two ways. We are social beings and we crave connection. I totally get that. But it's so unhealthy to get possessive and entitled to a person that doesn't know anything about you. It's very important to understand that these people don't owe you anything. We support them and they perform for us. That's it. Your favorite actors will keep making their movies and their shows and their appearances. Your favorite musicians will keep making music for you and maybe even go on tour. And even content creators will keep making content. And of course, our idols and our favorite celebrities are grateful for our support. But our support doesn't buy them for us. You know what I mean? We're not entitled to them. And I get it because these days with social media, it is so easy to connect to these people. Namjoon goes live and we're able to type and ask him questions and you feel like you're talking to him. He's staring down the middle of a camera and you feel like he's talking to you because it looks like he's looking right at you. Even when they go on tour and they're looking in the audience, you have a sign and they look at you and you're like, oh my God, he made eye contact with me. And trust me, I get it. That connection we feel is a part of the whole business model. It's a part of the whole financial strategy. If we feel like we have access to these people, if we feel connected to these people, if we can express our devotion to these people by giving them money, it makes us more incentivized to want to do that because we want to show how much we love and support these people. I get it. It's exploitative. And we're fans. Fans need to be respectful of boundaries. That's all I'm saying. Another thing I want to talk about is I hate how in this story, people are blaming Yoonjia. They're like, what do you expect when you accept free money? Why would you ever agree to go in business with an old man like that? Ladies, stop accepting money from strangers, etc., etc. And on one hand, obviously, I agree. That is dangerous. I totally understand that. But on the other hand, what human, male or female, wouldn't accept free money, especially when you're a streamer and you take donations on the regular? I don't know how streaming really works. Like, I don't watch streams. I don't really do streamings that often. Streamings. I'm 80. I don't really do streams that often, but I see that on TikTok, he was a VIP level donor. Those tiers exist for a reason. It's a normal thing for people to want to support you as much as they can, give you as much money as they can, and keep watching you grow your audience, your platform, your career. And it's sad that for some people, they think this money means they are buying you. Whenever incidents like this are discussed online, you always see in the comments people blaming, like, why were you out that late? Why would you accept this money from a stranger? Why would you go out the house wearing that? Why would you give him your number? Why wouldn't you give him your number? Like, there's no win. There's no way to win. I remember, I think earlier this year, there were 3 girls doing an IRL stream in like Santa Monica Pier. And some guy, he started off pretending to be very nice and charming and like a normal fan, wanted to take a picture with them. But then he started to appear later in their video, kind of following them. And I think he even changed his clothes. And he tried to get one of the girls' numbers and she said no, and then he became a problem. They tried to get help from some people around him. I think they found like a security guard on the pier and said, he's following us, he's following us. And people in the comments were like, well, you're 3 women. Why wouldn't you have your own personal security?
Woo! Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here.
I remember there was, I think this was a few years ago now, there was a young female Japanese streamer, and she was taking money from this older guy, and she kept promising to pay him back, saying she would pay him back, but of course she was never going to do that. And he ended up unaliving her with a knife. And while I obviously do not condone what she did to him, murder is not an appropriate response to that. With her dead, sir, you are literally never going to get your money back, and now you're in prison too. And there were hella people in the comments like, well, that's what she gets. She's a gold digger. She's using firm's money. She fucked around and found out. Like, what is wrong with us? But this is essentially the whole reason why when I would go out on dates and stuff, I would never let a man pay for me unless I liked him, because then I could be like, oh, next time's my treat, because I knew I wanted to see him again. But if I was not interested, I never wanted to feel like I owed a man anything. These days, a man will take you out on a date, buy you a cheeseburger, and feels like that buys him ass. You have these guys who go out there and act nice or pretend to be nice and feel like because they are nice to you, they are owed your body as well. Entitlement is exhausting and terrifying. And the timing of this is actually crazy because I just heard about this Yoon Ji-ah incident last night, like right before I was falling asleep. And earlier in the evening, I was scrolling and I saw this video where a guy was like, I'm a girl dad, and I started to take this stuff a lot more serious because I think of my daughter. And it was a woman who was in a car with her friend. She was like doing her makeup and filming them. And she noticed that her windshield wiper was like propped up, and she was like, oh, hell no. Her friend was like, drive, bitch, drive. So they drove away. She's recording this, and you can see the shadow of a figure crouched between 2 cars next to her, like he was waiting for her to get out, fix her windshield, and he could abduct her or do who knows what to her. And people in the comments had the audacity to say, well, women, why would you be out at night by yourself? How about we tell men to stop hurting women instead of condemning women for just existing and living our lives? I just feel like the same people who keep saying, women be careful, ladies be careful, watch your back, don't do this, don't do that, are the same people who get upset when women have a general heightened paranoia and fear of the average man, and why so many women choose a bear in the woods over a man in the woods. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell us be careful, be careful, be careful, and then get mad when we are being careful and we're being cautious. Why must it always be on us? Why must we always be the ones blamed? Instead of warning us and blaming us, let's warn and blame men about the consequences of these actions. And what I hate the most about this story with this streamer is I know for a fact that if this is his first offense, which it looks like there is, I haven't heard anybody say anything about, oh, he's done this before, his sentence will be much lighter than if he had done this previously. And because it clearly wasn't planned, it wasn't premeditated, that's another thing that's going to make his sentence not as severe. And the courts will likely consider the fact that he was emotional and he wasn't in his right mind and he was on his knees begging her for God's sake, and give him a very light sentence. I know I keep adding stuff here while I'm editing. I'm so sorry. I thought about a lot after I stopped recording video, but I just find it so hard to believe that even if you strangle the life out of someone, that can be considered like a heat of the moment passion crime, and it makes you less liable for your own actions because your emotions clouded your judgment. I can sooner understand the argument of pulling a trigger in the heat of a moment because it takes a second to pull a trigger. But to strangle someone, contrary to what we see in movies and on TV, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. You have to sit there for minutes and watch the life drain out of this person. You have many moments to stop what you're doing, to release your grip on their throat, and you still choose to maintain that grip to drain the life from them. So yeah, that's just another thought, sorry. My guess, I'm no Korean criminal expert or anything like that, but my guess is he might get like 12 years or something like that in prison for this. Yoon-ji had her whole life ahead of her, and this lying, entitled weirdo couldn't accept the fact that she did not want him in her life, so instead he took her life. Stories like this are way too common. You know that popular quote, "Men fear that women will laugh at them, but women fear that men will kill us." Anyway, guys, that was this video. Wanted to talk about it. It was important to me because I'm disgusted by this repetitive scenario. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!